And then do I have time for two more quick questions, Malika? Okay. We'll start with Cynthia, since you are a federal agent, and we know that there are many issues that have been highlighted in policing. Have you ever observed a superior or a colleague violate a law? And what did you do in that situation? And if you didn't do what you wish you had have done, what do you wish you would have done?
The short answer is no. I have never seen, I never saw an agent or a cop hit somebody over the head or anything like that. But again, I was a federal agent. I wasn't a street cop, and those are very different jobs. And I have to say, I think a uniformed police officer's job is actually, in many, many ways, significantly more difficult than a federal agent. What we do, we walk around and look like accountants.
If I can jump in, I don't necessarily, and I'm sorry, I might have prefaced that incorrectly. I just want to, anything that you've observed doesn't have to be a colleague hitting someone over the head, breaking, any law or any procedure. And what did you do in that situation when you maybe witnessed someone break a law or a procedure, whether it was?
Well, those are quite different things, laws and procedures. I never saw anyone blatantly break the law. No, that never happened in my personally. Procedure, I suppose it would just depend on I mean, I worked for the federal government for almost 30 years. Did some guys leave work early some days and not clock it in? Sure. I mean, or did someone take the Post-it notes home? Yeah. But it just depended on, I never got into a big altercation with people, but I have to say, if there was something I was concerned about, I would go to that individual and talk to that individual about it directly, generally speaking, unless something is truly egregious. And I have to say, there were a couple of egregious things, but they were more interpersonal, interpolitical things than what you're talking about. But I would go to a supervisor or even go over a supervisor's head when I had to. So I did take action. When it was clearly necessary, I absolutely took action.
Thank you. Stephanie, I know you haven't necessarily worked in government, but can you think of a situation where you've observed a superior violate a law or a company policy? And what have you done in that instance, and what do you wish you had done?
I can't think of any, to be honest with you, any situation where I've seen someone violate a law. Like, I do know that just through my work as a political organizer, having employees under me, like there's many union contracts that we've had to kind of help even myself understand how to navigate. And I always made sure I had someone there who was highly knowledgeable about union contracts, help me navigate those contracts, because they're very, very extensive and very important to follow. But I can't tell you
30 seconds.
Anything, but anytime there ever had been a situation, even as my own work, where something was getting a little close to being violated, maybe I always made sure that I was ahead of the game and understood how to navigate these very difficult contracts.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to switch the question now. So not everyone's going to get asked all of my questions. So the city has been involved in a number of FOIA lawsuits, as Malika mentioned earlier. Can you pick one and describe its significance and where the city maybe made a misstep that led to either the FOIA lawsuit, or a PAC opinion? So I'll ask that next to Jackson.
I won't have a ton of detail on this, because the one that's at the top of my mind right now is the lawsuit that Claire Kelly and Mary Brzezinski brought. And
sure.
If I'm remembering that correctly, that's still related to some records related to Robert Crown that the city has not been releasing. And that the significance there is that's a part, like Robert Crown is one of the biggest expenditures that the city's been making, and understanding what the logic is going into it and specifically where that money's going is a key part of the public being able to have any meaningful oversight over that process. And I don't think that's something that needed to be accomplished by a lawsuit.
30 seconds.
Get the information released. That information should, the information of where the money's coming from and where it's going should be available.
Certainly, thank you. Misty, either one of those questions, but particularly, I guess the second one.
Okay.
Would you, yeah.
So the second one, as we know, FOIA, OMA, they apply to public bodies. The city actually sued me for violating FOIA, which I thought was a poor use of taxpayer money, and it regarded a FOIA request I sent for a very limited number of records, and the city in turn sent me their entire human resources log since 2015, which is some of the reason why I have all of this information, and they left it unredactable. So I let them know soon after I realized that was the situation, and I also, because it was part of public proceedings, which, to be transparent, also involved Clerk Reed. But
30 seconds.
Thank you. I let them know. I also offered to show them how it was done so that they would know how to protect it, and they weren't interested in that. So they've since dismissed that suit. But that was to me a slap First Amendment suit, because I spoke up about it and because I petitioned for grievances.
Thank you. And then Eduardo, say you can pick from either one of those two questions there. The city has been involved in a number of FOIA lawsuits, or have you witnessed Superior violate the law? And what do you wish you had done, and what did you do?
So either one you said?
Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, in those sort of instances, when I believe that there's wrongdoing, it's best practice to go to the appropriate authority and have them handle whatever situation I've been experiencing. And it's also important to make sure that what I like to do is make sure people document the chain of events, so that way, you know, you're able to better reflect or remember how things transpired, so there's no discrepancies. And I usually leave it up to higher power to make the determination on whatever outcome or whatever outcome they think it's applicable to, whatever violations they think were applied in that instance.
Thank you. And then Malika, you let me know where we are.